Hello, welcome to Haunted Happenings with the Taunton Paranormal Group. I'm your host, Jake. With me, as always, is my co-host, Scotty. How you doing, Scotty?
Good, and you?
Very good. Tonight, we've got two guests with us. Both are part of a fellow paranormal group, Haunted Paranormal Research Society. We have Bud Prater and Rob Grillo. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
for having us.
Our pleasure. Thanks for being with us tonight. To start off, why don't we try and get a little bit of background so the viewers out there can get a little bit, to know about you and your group. Bud, can you tell us a little bit, maybe about your first paranormal experience?
First paranormal experience was probably around the 1980s. This house that I grew up in, it was really bad. It actually mentally scarred me to this day. It was basically a shadow person. I called him the man with the tall black hat.
Yeah.
And he would come to my room every night torment me. I wasn't the only one to see this apparition. It was me, my mother, other tenants in the house. My mom basically managed an apartment building, and it would torment other tenants in the house and actually would make them move out. That's how bad it was.
A lot of people saw this thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So, needless to say, that was probably my first and worst paranormal experience.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you?
At that time, I had to be about 8 years old.
Oh, yeah, that seems about the time.
That's about
For a lot of us.
That's
yeah.
about usual, yeah. Rob, could you tell us about your first paranormal experience?
It's kind of odd because mine happened exactly the same year.
Oh, really?
I was 8. A little quick backstory on that. When I was 6, my dad thought it was pretty funny to get me to watch The Exorcist.
Oh.
And I remember the scene on the bed, and she was going up and down, and I kind of freaked. I was 6 years old, and from that point on, I thought I was possessed. But no, when I was 8, I remember I was laying in my bed, and I woke up. It had to have been 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, easily. And I remember seeing 2 orbs on the ceiling, and I felt completely paralyzed. And one orb was, like, as it spoke, it was glowing.
Yeah.
And it said, "Shut the door," like my bedroom door. And then the other one said, "Don't shut the bedroom door." And I remember trying to get up, and then the other one said, "Shut the bedroom door." And I saw a tall, dark figure in the door, and the 2 orbs, lights. I call them orbs now because I know what they are. When I was a kid, they were lights. And the lights were just going back and forth until I finally closed my eyes. And I kept my eyes closed. I don't know how long it was that I kept my eyes closed. And then I woke up and I had to go to the bathroom really bad, and that overrode my fear of whatever the lights were telling me. But that was my first paranormal experience.
Wow. It's interesting at the age of 8, it seems like, I know it was for me, that a lot of stuff started sparking. A lot of similarities. I think a lot of people have very similar things happen, and it seems like close to around the same age.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Where I lived in New York, I was born and raised in New York. Half of my life was in the Bronx, the other half was in a town called Yonkers. And where my house was here. There was a street, and then there was one of the biggest cemeteries in all of Yonkers. It's called St. Mary's Cemetery, which was really, I could lean out my window and throw a stone and hit a grave.
Wow. Oh.
And I used to hang out there a lot when I was a kid.
Now, before this group, have you worked with any other groups or?
Yes, I have. Back in 2006, I believe it or not, I started Haunted Paranormal Research Society with another member. We ended up splitting. I kind of went docile for like a little bit, and I ended up joining a group, RIPS. Then I went from RIPS. I went to Spirit Finders, and then, we all got together and we said, why don't we start from scratch and start up Haunted Paranormal again.
There you go.
And that's where we're at now.
So are you the founder of
I
the
am
group?
not the founder. Nope.
Okay, so
Nope.
like a kind of a
Basically, it's a structure. I'm actually the public relations officer.
Ah, I see. And how long have you been doing haunted paranormal research?
Well, if you take it from 2006, I've been doing it since 2006.
Nice. So you've got a lot of experience.
Yes.
Okay. And Rob, same thing.
Mine was pretty much almost the same. I had friends that were part of Spirit Finders, and I had joined the group, and I did almost 5 years, I think. Maybe September will be 5 years. And then Spirit Finders kind of there was a lull, and Bobby Fisher, he went and joined another group, and we were dormant for a while. And then Bobby called me up and said, "Listen, we're getting Spirit Finders back together again, and I really want you to be my right hand. Do you want to join again?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I haven't been doing it, and I really wanted to get back out there and doing it because the investigations that we had been on were some of the most amazing investigations, and hopefully we'll get to that.
Right.
And then we decided that we wanted to, on the strength of the 5 people who were in the group, we wanted to do our own thing. We didn't want to be under the veil of anybody else's. We were confident in our abilities, so we said, let's just do this thing from the ground up. Let's do it our way, and let's make a go at it.
Sometimes you're better off, especially if you've got a goal or a mission or an idea that you want to see happen. Which brings me to my next question. If you can tell us a little bit about Haunted Paranormal Research Society, what you do, what types of hauntings you deal with, what your goal is, as far as...
Sure. I wouldn't necessarily say we deal with hauntings.
Okay.
Because we have a diverse group with diverse beliefs. Mm-hmm. We deal with the paranormal. We deal with spirits. We also what's going to differentiate us from Spirit Finders is we're also going to look into alien research.
Oh, okay.
We're going to do a lot more than just the standard, going to a house and dealing with somebody who's being haunted.
Right.
We try and look at everything from a scientific point of view. That's our main goals. We want to look at research, investigate, prove, and truth.
Right. That's good. Scotty.
How long have you guys both been working in this field?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you said 2006.
2000, I would have to say 2006. That's when I actually started. I mean, it all started because I've always had a passion for it. My childhood haunt, and that's what sparked it. And I got together with, my ex-partner from Haunted, and I just says, "Hey, why don't we start something?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm all for it." And that's when we started up Haunted Paranormal back in 2006, but.
Yeah, up until I actually joined the group, I mean, I guess you could say I had done it on my own. Like I was always researching everything online, reading books. And then, I saw a couple of discovery shows, and, and I found out that there were actual groups that do this.
Yeah. Right.
And then because I worked somewhere that there were a couple of, paranormal investigators. And I ended up talking to them, and they were the ones that had started Spirit Finders. Oh. So I said, I'm up for joining the group, and my specialty is I'm the audio tech guy. I have a massive setup, so they didn't have anything like that at the time. And when we go out to investigations, I'm the one with 30 microphones, my complete recording studio set up, and so I brought what I do in the real world. In the everyday life, not the real world, but in everyday life to the group. Right.
Oh, it's good to have, especially somebody with that kind of knowledge, especially when you're trying to have an objective opinion, and go out and really find answers more so than theory. I mean, unfortunately, everything we do in this at this point is mainly theoretical. But if we break it down and we do take a scientific approach, in networking, especially like what we're doing here, joining other groups, getting together, putting it out there, it's only going to benefit the entire paranormal community anyway.
Definitely.
And unfortunately, you know, there are some groups, there's a lot of groups, I suppose, that keep the information to themselves, guard it like it's, you know, the Holy Grail or something.
Yep.
But
out of all the groups that I've either met, I mean, I don't know you guys too well. I know Bud knows about your group. And it's funny because I live in Taunton. But out of all the groups, I can honestly say this one, the five of us, there's no pretense in the group. There's no glory hounds. I've seen a lot of people just do it for the glory and for the recognition, and that's not what we're about. We're not. I mean, they you know, when Bud asked me to do the TV show, I'm like, okay, because I've been the public speaker for Spirit Finders before, so I'm
Right.
you know, adept at it. But you know, it's not about TV. It's not about popularity. It's about, we all have this like burning desire to prove that this stuff exists,
Right.
and we'll go to any lengths. And if people latch on, that's cool.
Right.
If people think, you know, what we're doing is a good thing, then hey, we're good with that. But we're not out there for the glory. We're not out there for
Right.
the praise. We're out there for ourselves and the community the paranormal community as a whole. Because if we get something, you know, the five of us are out on an investigation, and we get something that's irrefutable. There's not a scientist, priest, anybody on this planet that can refute what we have. Then we just prove what we've been trying to prove all this time.
Right.
You know? And it's good when we can get together with other groups that have the same mindset.
right.
You know,
Well-
turn the skeptic into a believer. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
That's what it is. You know, that's our mission. You know.
Yep. I respect that. I mean, and the point with this show here is to get the information out to people, out to other groups. Believe me, the 15 minutes of fame, if I can tell you firsthand, to any groups out there, it just isn't worth it. Leave it to the other guys. They're already there. Let them have it. That's the guys behind the scenes doing this that are the real heroes, believe me. Because the backlash that comes with it, it's just not worth it. We, you know, Father Bob, we work very close with him, and we've talked, and we will not do another national television show. It just isn't worth it. Not to him anyway, and certainly not to me. I mean,
Nope.
I felt the sting from doing the one Animal Planet episode, and
Yep.
I would never do it again. And you guys had some pictures. Why don't we go to the pictures, and you guys can narrate those as they come up and give us an idea what was going on with those cases.
Again, I will let Rob handle that because he was actually on this investigation.
This is
There's like a little blur in the middle
well,
there.
no, hang on a second. I'm looking at the date going 1/24/2007.
I think
This
they
is
are.
9 Men's Misery
Okay.
in Cumberland, Rhode Island. It's quickly, the backstory is that 9 men from King Philip's army were captured and tortured by the Narragansett Indians.
Yep. Okay.
What's been said is that it's not the 9 men that are haunting the grounds. It is the Indians that actually caught them.
Okay.
So this right here, that is a spot. But now we looked at the camera afterwards because we took the picture. Ronnie took the picture, and there was, you know, she's like, oh, there's a spot. So then we actually like looked at it, and I looked at the lens. There was nothing on the lens, but it was raining that night.
Oh, okay.
And we were half a mile in the woods in the rain. But there wasn't any rain on the lens.
Okay.
So
That's interesting. I do want to point out too, with this monitor that you're looking at, it's a little darker. So if there is something in a photo that you can't necessarily see well,
Okay.
on, you know, when it airs on television, the people will be able to see it better.
Okay.
So you will be able to see it.
yeah, 9 Men's Misery. I have to say I'm the guy in the group that doesn't believe because I want to believe. I want proof. I know it's there. So, you know, never in a site or an investigation have I ever been on, have I felt the, all I can say, it was heaviness. It just felt, there was like humongous weight when we got to the actual stone structure. It was very ominous, and I'm not one to say anything is creepy, but it's as close to creepy as I've ever felt in my life.
Wow.
And it's just a very ominous feeling there. It's not a bad feeling, but there is something there. There is something that felt like it was weighing me down. Like I'm 250 pounds. I felt like I was 350 pounds as I was walking up the hill and then walking down from the actual structure itself.
Wow.
There was definitely something there.
Well, there were some more photos that went with that, right?
Yep.
This one, there's a spot down there because where the
Kind of center to the right.
yeah, that would, in real life, well, not, I keep saying real life. When we were there, that was actually like more defined, like dirt, and that spot popped up. Plus, if you look from that spot and you go up to the tree and to the left,
Yeah.
in the middle of the tree.
Right there.
An orb.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. And that was also at Nine Man's Misery.
Yes, these are all at Nine Men's Misery.
Yeah, we're planning on trying to
Now-
get there ourselves.
I like that one.
Okay. This, unfortunately, I'm glad it will be clearer for when the viewers see it. There is what looks like to be smoke, and it actually wraps around the tree.
I can see it. It's like a black mist.
Like I actually have a really good picture. Like I have the original picture of that, and it's very well defined. And Veronica took the picture, and she's like, "Wow, look at that!" And Bobby and I both looked up and saw the tree, and it really, like with the light, you could see. And there's no way to describe because there was no steam coming up.
Right. I don't see how you could, even
even
fake
brown
something
mist.
like
Yeah,
that.
no.
You know what I mean?
And it was a brown mist, and it's very defined, and it's snaking around the tree.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a great picture. Great catch.
Now, if you, from that tree, just try and envision, if you go off to the right, there is basically a trail that goes down a hill.
Mm-hmm.
When we started walking, because we heard some things that it wasn't the rain hitting the ground. What we thought we heard was somebody walking around, like breaking leaves. Could have been an animal, could have been anything. We walked down, and there was almost a 17-degree difference from the top to maybe a yard and a half down the path.
Wow.
Bobby took out his temperature gauge.
Yeah.
It was 77, and then I think at one spot it was 61, and then 60, and we're talking not even 3 yards from one another.
Wow, that's a significant drop.
It's crazy.
No.
Yeah, we felt it as we were walking down. I said, "Bobby, do you have your
Yeah, right.
temperature?"
And it was an isolated area?
Yeah, it's an extremely isolated area.
I mean, with the cold spot.
Yes.
Okay.
yes, it
Because,
was
you're outdoors. A cold breeze could come by, but
No,
if this
no,
was
no,
just
no,
kind of
no.
right there.
The way this was set, it was a path, and then there were trees.
Right. So was that the
one-
reason for that shot? Because you felt something in that
No,
general area?
we actually saw the mist, and we started walking towards the tree because we wanted to investigate a little more. And then, we saw the path that was going down, and we heard something as we were coming up to the tree.
Oh, wow.
And then we started walking down the path, and then we felt. I said, "Bob, then this is a great difference in temperature over here." And
Right.
He came walking to where I was. He was like, "Wow, it was definitely."
Yeah, I
different."
mean, 17 degrees is
Yeah,
that's a huge
Yeah.
difference.
It's like night
You
to
know,
day.
Definitely.
Now, so you could see this mist with your own eyes. It didn't just manifest on film.
We saw something.
Right.
We saw it on the film, and then after Veronica had taken a picture, she said, "Look at this," and then we looked up, and it looked like the mist was still there, but it was actually climbing up the tree.
Wow. Any theories on what you think it might be?
He was there. Honestly, that night I was sick.
Uh,
Cannot go. Believe me, I'm kicking myself in the butt.
Well, we've heard of elementals. I kind of would put something like that towards, something, just in theory anyway. Then were there a couple more shots from?
There,
I believe there's like six pitches.
Oh, we can go back.
I've known. This is from the investigation in Pawtucket.
Okay, what are we looking at here? I can see mist and some reflections or orbs.
I'm actually not the one that took this picture. I think this was Bobby that took the picture.
Okay.
Because I was off in another room.
So this was a residential?
Yeah, this was a residential in Pawtucket. And I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. If you look at the bag, there was more defined heavy mist on the right of it.
Right.
And then the orbs. But I mean, I can attribute the orbs to dust, but if you were in that basement, there was nothing that could cause that much mist.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the dust, but not, yeah, certainly not a mist like
Not
that.
like that. There was nothing down there that could cause that.
That's almost cloudy, you know.
Yeah, that's a wild picture.
And in that investigation, we paired up into groups, and Veronica and I were in one room, and as we were sitting there, we had the IR camera behind us, and there were lights. They had exposed pipes, and there was a light that consistently followed the pipes, just went down like this on the pipes.
Wow.
And then there was, later on in the evening, there was a steady whistling. It sounded like a teapot going off. And there was nobody making tea upstairs. And it was basically in the room that we were in.
Wow. And maybe we can go to the next shot. Again, it looks like a mist in the right-hand side. This is the same location? Okay.
Now, this is also the same location. This is Pawtucket. If you're in that room, there is nothing that can cause that black spot.
Oh, up above where the door frame is?
There was nothing that could, there was nothing that could reflect off of that. We're still trying to figure this one out. I mean, they went back for the reveal, and they specifically looked in that room. But there was, in my years of doing it, I mean, this was a one-off shot, and
yeah, that's interesting.
That is
a
weird.
Black shadow or orb or something, black orb.
Something manifesting,
Right. Yeah, that's a good catch too. It's not often you see the darker,
Yeah.
orbs like that. If that is in fact an orb, a shadow or something there.
Have you guys, I mean, the pictures, some amazing pictures. Have you guys ever dealt with any demonic cases at all?
I would have to say no. Nope.
no.
Well, the one, what was that? I can't even think where it was. It was in Rhode Island that you came up with a priest to help you.
Yep, the Bristol case.
Did that deem to be negative by any means, or what was your take on that?
Honestly, it's still up in the air what was actually happening in that house,
Yeah.
because we came up with a couple theories as we talked that night. It apparently, after what we did, it kind of went away, but then the mother says it came back. It actually came back.
I don't find that surprising, and I'm certainly not going to say anybody's names.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like their faith was altogether there, or they really believed much in what was being done.
Yep.
That was my take on it anyway.
Yes.
So, I mean, if they don't believe that, it's certainly not going to work. Because in the end, it's going to fall into their laps. There's maintenance that needs to be done. I mean, they have to, not want this to come back, and they have to do whatever he's told them to do in order to keep it out. So, it was just, I was curious about that, just in general, because at first, when we'd heard, that's obviously why he went there. Because
Yes.
they thought it was something demonic.
And honestly, at that point, we weren't sure. It was on the edge with either demonic or wraith.
Yeah, right.
Like I mentioned, and we could not make out what it was, because I mean, it had all the traits of a demonic, but it also had the traits of a wraith.
Yeah.
Of a wraith haunting,
Well, that's something in itself. I mean, the whole idea of the wraith. I mean, there's so much to know about something like that. There's so many different levels.
There's like 6 different levels when it comes to that.
Yeah, and each one has. There's a lot that goes with it.
Yes.
That was actually the first time I'd heard about anybody even coming into something similar. That might have been a wraith. That was interesting.
Yep.
So do you have any cases lined up at this point that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, we have what looks to be a pretty career-defining one coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the place itself asked that we not talk about it till we have it finalized. You guys will definitely be the first to know. If this all goes through, it really will, and we get anything, it will definitely be a career-defining experience.
That's great.
We plan on going back to Nine Men's Misery because it was 1:30 in the morning and started pouring on us, and we could have. I'm sure the longer we stayed, we could have gotten a lot more.
Right.
We plan on as spirit finders, we did an inn in Rhode Island, and that to me was the first time I actually truly ever had contact.
Oh. And what kind of contact?
An actual spirit.
Touched, saw.
Basically spoke through me and the meter, and everybody in the room was there to see it.
Oh wow.
You know, asking questions, having the meter light up once for yes and 2 for no, and we had have it all on video.
Oh,
so
wow.
we plan on going back to that spot again. It wasn't malevolent. It was just somebody who it was in a big huge hall, and it was somebody who had visited the place. His name was Charles, and he had visited the place when he was alive, and he just felt good. There was no negative feelings there. He just didn't want to leave because he had so many good memories there, and it was a safe place for him. He didn't want to move on.
Yeah.
So we plan on going back to that inn, and there was something else coming up too. I'm trying to remember what it was. I'm doing 9 Men's Misery, the inn, the big one, and we also got other things going on. We got like Pagan Pride going on. We're going to be there, and we got the zombie walk.
Oh yeah, the zombie walk. We had a member that used to do that.
The zombie walk. We're going to hopefully be doing it out of Burrville, Rhode Island, second or third week in October, and I'll be there. I won't be putting makeup on, but I'll be putting makeup on kids. And a big scary
Cool.
me.
Yeah, right.
You know, they have a line of kids in front of me. I want makeup from that guy.
Yeah, I'm a big kid. I'll be decorating, and then I'll end up becoming one of the zombies.
Yeah, I'd be doing the same thing. I'm a kid at heart.
I
so.
just don't really want to cut my beard off, and makeup in my beard just doesn't work.
Oh.
And then, like you said, the Pagan Pride Festival.
Right.
We're going to be doing that.
Now, do you guys have anybody in your group that you would qualify as a sensitive, or do you use sensitives at all?
We do use sensitives, not all the time, but I would have to say, Veronica would have to be. Veronica and honestly, Jennifer.
Okay.
She is too.
That's cool.
She's a sensitive. I mean, she'll walk into a place and just feel it.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Well, we're down to the last couple minutes, and we're pretty quick.
Wow.
Do you have any contact info or emails that you want to throw out there for anybody that's watching the show that we'll be able to get in touch with you if needed?
Yes, it's you want to.
We got Haunted Paranormal Research Society on Facebook.
Okay.
Look that up and like us. All of us are on there, so you can friend us on Facebook too. We have Haunted PRG.
No, PRS.
No, Haunted PRG at
PRG.
Gmail.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Haunted PRG at email.
Yep. Okay.
We also have our case manager.
Yep.
Is,
It's our case manager is going to be 401-391-1193, and it's going to be Bobby Fisher.
Great. All right, I want to thank both you guys for being with us.
Thank you guys very much
Very
for having me.
informative.
Thank you.
I think that'll get some information out there about you guys, especially for people in your area or the areas surrounding anyway. So that's going to do it for tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching. You can catch a new show in a couple weeks from now. And until next time, remember, don't forget to look under your beds and in your closets before you go to sleep, because you never know who or what is in there with you. Till next time, good night.
Good night.
Good night.